Alright guys, so we're back with the 454, my boy
up,
JL. We have an electrical issue somewhere with something, we don't know, this is like, we're getting really close to the end here, but we think. But we're going through the bike because the electrical tape, wrap, whatever the fuck was going on with this shit is just all just disgusting.
It's disintegrating, it was chafed away, it was melted in some spots, it's just not good.
Yeah, so JL's got some Scotch 33, and he's
best electrical work.
Going to, he's been wrapping this.
Scotch 33, man. Yeah. This is the tape that you want, no matter what you're doing for any electrical project.
Yeah, so pretty much he's been re-wrapping the wire looms. We're going through all the wires to see if there's any chafe. We found one chafed wire down by the side of the radiator fan, somewhere in this direction. Yeah, right here.
Going through, checking, and re-wrapping also.
Yeah, there's one right there. It's bluish red wire.
See if I can pull it forward.
That's right.
There's the chafing.
Yeah, right there. Well, right now we don't know what if that's causing an issue or not. We have no idea yet.
Some really interesting OE.
Yeah, that is a factory splice and a factory tape wrap job.
Pull it open while you're talking there. You can come back to it in a sec.
So, and we're just checking out. We're checking out the igniter box here. I went ahead and re-swapped the ignition coil back because the other one was clicking, and I didn't know what was going on with it. So I swapped back to this one just to see if that can rule that out as a faulty part. Just because I know this one was working before. Got this part over here too.
There you go.
There's the factory.
That's what these splices look like inside. So I've been pulling all of these open, making sure everything is tight, kosher, re-wrapping them, re-looming everything, trying to make sure everything stays as close to OE as possible.
Yeah.
In egress and entrance locations.
Yeah.
So
we had it. Yeah. So we've been you can see how disgusting this tape looks just from this piece right here. It's just so we're going through the entire, some of it is factory. Like when we found up towards the front past the gas tank up here has mostly been factory. But the tape back here has all been re-wrapped at some point because it definitely was not factory tape.
Which is why I've been checking all the splices underneath there because you never know what somebody else did in electrical until you really tear it down.
Yeah, so this is about as tearing down into the front of the bike as it's been so far. We have nothing up here. The horn's missing. These wires here, there's one loom. This is the ignition loom. This is for the speedometer up in here. These are the turn signals. There's 1 and 2. The whole horn is off, so we can get that out of there easily because the actual wire harness comes down here, goes under here, then goes through here. There's a little loop here, and then it goes up under the frame, and then it continues down to the back of the bike down there. So we're just disconnecting everything, going through everything, making sure that there's no shorts or missing electrical pieces. So far, everything's checking out okay, but we just want to hunt down why the bike isn't. It was having some weird issue where I was hitting the key and nothing was happening, like as of last night, so we don't know what's going on with it, which is unfortunate. Because all I did was I went to try to adjust my airbag tether that's here, so that way it's tight enough for me when I'm riding so it deploys correctly. And I guess I moved the wiring harness down here the wrong way, and I just decided it was going to cut out and not going to work anymore. So it sucks.
So we decided to pull the whole thing apart.
Yeah.
Because, look at the difference here in what you're seeing on that stuff.
You're seeing this right here going through here is all
which
old.
Is actually in decent shape back here.
Yeah, right. I don't think this was really touched with. I think it was really touched from about here to right from here, starting from here back. It was where it started to get hairy. Then he re-wrapped all this. We're gonna re-wrap this too. We just got to pull the wiring harness back through because otherwise you have to pop the air box off and the carbs off to get this piece out, which is so fucking dumb. But this electrical tape, I put that there because I thought the gas tank was rubbing on the frame, making vibration, but actually it's not. I got to tear that off. It's just black duct tape. But yeah, you can see JL's doing a fantastic job there wrapping this up.
Can't stress enough, Scotch 33, don't cheap on your tape, especially with something like this. The cheaper like commercial electric or any of the generic brand tapes are going to be a really crappy adhesive. It's going to give up on you after a month or two. Doesn't handle the elements very well. Doesn't handle becoming cold, so your first winter everything's going to start to unravel. You just don't cheap on the tape if you're going to do a project like this.
Yeah, because I wanted to do this one time and one time only if I can possibly help it. So that's why we're doing it this way, and we're just double checking all the wiring and making sure everything's as good as it's going to get for being a 30-something-year-old bike. So, but everything back here seems to be working. We luckily found the wiring diagram. We found a manual. We downloaded it. We got the wiring diagram in there. Everything's okay. We were just kind of process of elimination. If we could find a broken wire, we were trying to figure out what was broken, because the three things that were not working were the neutral light, the oil pressure light, and the coolant temperature gauge was staying at this level here, where it wasn't even going up the gauge to say that was 0. So I knew something was off. So we're going to keep cracking at it and see what we got, but I hope we find the short or whatever is causing the problem. Either it's a cut wire somewhere, or it's a component failure, which could either, there could have been
where we're leaning at this
point. Which it could easily be this igniter box could be an issue too, because we don't know. We couldn't get into this thing because
notice there's a crack in the top, which concerned me a little, but
and this was taped over at one point with duct tape. So I don't know why that was like that. But this bike hasn't been in the rain at all since I've had it. So we're just going to, piece it together. I said that would probably be the next thing I have to purchase, if anything, would be that box to plug it back in to see if we're still not getting the result. So we'll come back a little later and show you guys what we did later on here, and see, hopefully we'll have it more together for you in the next take here. All right, guys. Well, we're back with the 454 looking as clean as ever now. It's probably the cleanest it's ever been in its life. So we, JL did the honors of retaping all of this. So we got it all the way down here, retaped the igniter box and taped up the crack in it, redid the connections here, we routed the line back under here, retaped it all the way under here, and we continue on the other side.
It's been zip tied up here along the frame. I didn't really want it rubbing against the engine body. It seemed like a bad idea since there's no heat shroud here.
Yeah.
So
we zip tied it here, and then have it run under these coils like it was. Then the one bundle splits. These are all your hand controls for the right and left hand controls, and then the other main harness goes under here, then back up to the headlight, which we have apart because I decided to take the tachometer apart because one of the light bulbs is burned out, as you can see right here. That one's burned out. Well, that one's lit. This one's burned out. So I need a replacement bulb. It's a 12 volt 3 watt bulb that just slips into here. The filament's cracked. This one you can see is what it looks like when it's lit up. So I'm gonna get a pair of these for this one, a pair of these for this one, and just do them both right now because I have this apart, and then I will reconnect the headlight once I get that together. But for right now, crossing fingers because we'll see what happens here. But key is still, ignition's still faulty, somewhat.
I will say, this worked before we started filming.
There we go. Yes, it has been working on and off when the camera's off, and of course when it's camera shy. So, looking good. The headlamps flickering, but now we got the lights back that were broken, which is good. And we don't know what actually caused it because there was one shaped wire that was down over here, but it was a blue and a red wire, which was a ground, I believe.
It was grounding against
it was a grounding,
bottom of the engine
yeah, it was a ground against here at the bottom of the engine. Yeah, that pipe's hot. But that was, that was the only chafed wire, and the rest of the stuff was from factory. It looked fine. There was no chafing, but we decided to retape it anyway. And then we also had an issue with the starter down here. The ground down here was had gotten a bolt replaced.
Yeah, the bolt they put in there was a lot too long, so there was just no contact being made with the ring connector here. So
yeah, so we went ahead and replaced that also, and we tightened the terminals down. So, but she seems to be running a lot better now for the most part.
Just gonna get that ignition.
Yeah, the ignition is still botched.
We'll probably take apart the cylinder, figure out what's going on electrically in there.
Yeah, because something's up with this, because this key, it's like if you don't have the key in the right position, it won't start, and you kind of have to jiggle it. But you can see how badly these teeth are worn down also on the key here. But that's my only problem. That's the least of my worries, and if I have to wiggle the key a little every time to start the bike, then I really don't care. But my dad's a locksmith too, so he's going to possibly look at it and see if we can get that taken care of. Side's not going to turn now? No,
yeah.
Wow.
Look what you did, Tyler.
Yeah, I had to say something. Oh, there we go.
There it is. I must have pushed it too hard.
Yeah, I pushed it in too hard, yeah.
But so long as it is working, we're not having any. Before the issue was we were getting some clicking over here, either the relay or the solenoid. Not sure which was the clicker. We actually replaced off of our other 454.
Yeah.
Both of those parts, swapped them in here. We were getting the same symptoms, and they're now gone. I mean, we redid everything, and now they're gone. So something we did fixed it.
Yeah,
we're just not really sure what.
But it
now,
seems it'll do that.
We're actually, I think, out of gas now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're out of gas now. No gas tank hooked up. We've probably started it like 4 times even before the video started.
So now it's just a matter of we're gonna put everything else back on the bike except for the headlight and the tachometer and the speedometer here. They're just gonna stay apart until I get the new bulbs to replace them, and then all these wiring harnesses will just get reconnected back up into the headlight bucket, and then it should be
Which
complete.
would be a lot easier now, because before the tangle was the major problem, and I've reloomed everything in here. It was never done up like this. It was just tangled mass where, you know, this one was kind of pulled through the backside of this connector, which was ripped in with these guys. It was a mess, even like just from factory. So I found this to be a lot easier just to even just pull it through while we were redoing everything. So definitely recommend to do that if you're doing a project like this yourself.
Yeah, so we're looking good. Hopefully she'll be back on the road shortly after that, but I've already put 500 miles on this bike.
This will work as a headlight, right?
So,
We can take it out tonight.
Yeah, just light our way with the little dinky 3-watt light bulb.
You just do like I did on the 50. You grab the flashlight and you hold it like this,
yeah,
like you're walking down the street.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we'll catch up with you a little later. Hopefully, we'll have some more ride footage when the bike is 100% back together for you. So.